The heads-up display is actually pretty decent. Once you have it adjusted right for yourself, the clarity's good. It's not blurry. Gives you relevant information. It does have the adaptive part. You can adjust the brightness, but there's no way of turning off the adaptive part. Basically, it will automatically try to adjust the brightness based on outside light. And so sometimes it's a little bit weird looking, too bright or not bright enough, that kind of thing, because of that automatic adjustment. But other than that, it's fine. The heads-up display is fine in this vehicle. I'm sitting in the driver's seat. I'm 6 feet tall. I have the driver's seat all the way back and all the way down. And this is basically my seating position. I don't have, as far as like if you're over 6 feet tall, you'd have to check it out, make sure it's good for you. The right in here is a soft part right here. It's soft, but it kind of protrudes out, and my knee lands on that a lot. Here on the left side is not really a problem, and the angle of the footrest is good. So yeah, overall it's pretty good as far as the room here. And but kind of surprised the seat doesn't go back just a little bit more. This is what the seat looks like when I have it all the way back for for the rear passenger here. I can't even fit here. So if you're over 6 feet tall, then you're just gonna really take into the passenger space in the back. Okay, so back here, this is what the climate control looks like, and it has heated seats. So three-stage heated seats here in these captain's chairs, and then there's the climate control. Very, very straightforward, just like the front. Then you have 2 USB charge ports there. The steering wheel, really nice, kind of rubbery soft, has a good soft leather wrapping to it. It looks good, it feels good, and it is heated as well, but the heated is only here on the sides, not so much on the top and the bottom. It's just here on the sides. Some vehicles have it all the way around, some of them have it in different places, but this one is just on the sides here. So I'm glad to see that Mazda didn't have the metallic buttons down here, because those kind of reflect the light and it's hard to see sometimes, but so having these match the other buttons is pretty nice. Here on the right side, it has the cruise control, so you turn it on, set, resume, cancel here, and adjust the distance between you and the vehicle in front of you here on the left side. Now I'm glad that you can go up and down and adjust the distance, increase it or decrease it, separate buttons, instead of having a single button that you cycle through. So I like that. But the only thing about these buttons is when you lift them up and push them down, it's so easy to accidentally press in. There's the press in part, the cancel, so easy to press it in that when you're trying to adjust your distance, it sometimes cancels quite a bit. Same thing with this right here going up and down. You accidentally press it in because it's so easy to press it in, especially if you're driving and you're not being super careful. Then it's real easy to press it in while you're trying to adjust up and down. Here on the left side, it has the voice recognition. Also, with the button here is also the phone button. You press this button to answer. You press this one to hang up. So I'm glad to see they have a separate hang up button. Especially considering this one is sharing this button with the voice recognition. So basically you can press that button when there's no call coming in. You just press it and say, hey, I call so-and-so on my phone book, that kind of thing. And you can call them, so that's why it's connected there. We'll get to this info button in a second. It corresponds to a little information screen up here. Volume for the radio. You can also mute the radio by pressing in, which is nice. And then the changing through the audio source here. Change through the tracks or the radio station going up and down. Pressing in does the source. And once again, it's real easy to press in on these buttons while you're trying to adjust them. Now it does have paddle shifters here on the back. It does have an 8-speed automatic transmission. So you can use these paddle shifters to cycle through those gear ratios. Now it has the windshield wipers for the front and rear, and it also has the automatic. So it has a little indicator light showing you that it is on automatic now. If you want to turn that off, you can lift it up and then it'll go into the off position. But it's nice to have that rain sensing windshield wiper control, especially if it's kind of like misting or something like that, or just kind of raining on and off. You just put that on automatic and it does a fairly decent job. So here's the turn signal, also has the headlight switch, and I have a full night video, you can check it out. Off, automatic, parking, and headlights here. Now it has a button here on the end for turning on and off, or off the automatic high beams. And that is very useful because basically I've had issues with this vehicle. When I put it on automatic high beams, when I can go to high beams manually, but when I put it on low beams, when the automatic high beams are turned on, that's when they will automatically go to high beams. So it's not like you can quickly pull down and go to low beams. It'll automatically stay on high beams. So you want to keep that button handy because, you know, so like say I saw a bicycle, somebody's on a bicycle and the automatic high beams doesn't recognize that, so it's basically blinding the person on the bicycle. So I'm trying to quickly pull in on the stock to lower to have the low beams on instead of the high beams, but since it's an automatic high beams, it just won't let me to go to low beams. You'd think it'd be the opposite, where, you know, you can go to low beams, but high beams would, you know, be the automatic part. But anyways, it's a little bit opposite there, and it's a little bit of a safety issue if you're not prepared to press that button. You know, you have to know right where that button is so you can turn it off, just in case a situation like that arises. Now there's a button right here that you can cycle through the trips. You have odometer, trip A, and trip B, which you can reset independently. Here on this side right here is the dimmer switch for the interior gauges. It also controls other stuff, and I showed that in the night video. Okay, so here's the gauges, basically a screen, and it has basically right here it shows the status of the hybrid system. So as you're driving, this shows how much power you're using, and then if needle goes down, it shows actually charging the batteries, if you're coasting, that kind of thing. And you can adjust the regen in the settings on the main screen, but it has outside temperature, of course the trips there, digital speedometer, whatever your cruise is set at. Over here will be your distance to the distance you can drive on electric power, and then the distance you can drive on gas. And then you have your battery gauge here, and then fuel gauge here, and then this is where you shows your average miles per gallon and miles per kilowatt hour. And I've been driving recently on a lot of trying to plug it in and charge it, trying not to use so much gas, and I'm trying to get like a really good idea of how much I can save gas here. So right now I'm getting 29.6 miles per gallon. Vehicle this size, not too bad. But I am plugging it in, and every time you plug it in, I calculated it's about $1, a little bit over $1, to charge the vehicle from 0 all the way to 100. And you can go about 25-30 miles on a charge. So, you know, kind of use that as a metric there. And right here in the center is pretty interesting, because right now it's showing this vehicle, and if there's a vehicle in front of you, it'll show you it up there, and if there's a vehicle around to the left and the right while you've got the cruise control set, it'll show if there's a vehicle in your blind spot, it'll show if there's a vehicle beside you, and they're kind of represented as little shadows. So it's just kind of neat little thing, just kind of revealing what the vehicle can see around you, and all that. So yeah, this is probably kind of neat to the status of that. Now it doesn't have it has a lane keep assist system, but it just kind of like if you wander off the road, it'll kind of bump the steering wheel back towards the direction you're supposed to go. It doesn't like keep you in the center of the lane or anything like that. Matter of fact, this vehicle wanders a lot. So it's a little bit, you know, it'd be nice if it did have a lane keep assist, because it's constantly, you know, you let go of the steering wheel for like half a second and it wants to go one way. It either wants to go straight right or straight left. It doesn't want to stay straight. Okay, so let's get back to this info button. It just basically adds or subtracts information right in here. As I cycle through, you can see these little icons will pop up, and I can choose and basically rest on the one that I want. I can have nothing here. I can have the original information there, temperatures, active sense status, digital compass, that kind of stuff. I like this and keep an eye on my fuel economy and range. Center information screen is nice and big, and you can see it good. And it's fairly simple. How you operate it is using this scroll button right here, the scroll wheel. And it has these physical buttons around the outside. There's a physical volume knob. There's even a button that you can select what it wants. So it's like a wildcard button. You can select what that does in the settings. So if you want to customize that button, you can do that. So using this scroll wheel, there's a quick navigation button, a quick radio button, a home button, and a back button. So right now we're in the home screen right here, and we can use the big scroll wheel. We turn it. We can also press in on it. So if I scroll down by turning that big wheel, you can see it just kind of goes up and down on this menu selection here. So the first one's information. I can press down on the big button, and I can go into this sub menu here, get information here, go back, entertainment, so this would be radio, that kind of thing. We can press in on the big button again to pull up our source list and different information here. And go back again. Communication, this will be your phone. You can pair your different phones here. Also has Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, which is kind of showing that over here. Digital clock is kind of small, and it kind of changes positions, and it's not always up there, you know, so that's one thing to consider. The next one is the navigation. Hit that, and you notice the clock is now up here, so it's changed positions. So let's go ahead and turn the brightness down on the camera so you can see what I'm talking about here. Alright, so there is the navigation map. As I turn the scroll wheel, the big wheel here, it kind of zooms in and out. Like so. And if I press down on the big wheel, it will give me these different selections here. And so if I hit the top one, where to, I can go in here and I can use the scroll wheel and make selections and type in what I want to search for, basically. And it'll auto-fill the address. So if I get close to it, it'll just automatically auto-fill, and I can make sure that it's the right one. Going back out of that, we go to settings. Now, one of the things I did in the settings is completely just turn off as much notifications as I could, because there's just such annoying sounds coming from this vehicle. So I tried to turn off as many warnings, and there's even a setting where if you're going over the speed limit, it will just constantly annoy you with annoying sounds, loud noise. And what happens is, you might not even be going over the speed limit. It might see a sign and interpret it wrong, and you're driving, and it's just horrible. So there's a lot of horrible, annoying sounds coming from this vehicle. So if you can turn as many of them off as possible, that'd be great. The worst one that I can't turn off is a seatbelt warning. And literally, if you're sitting in the car and you come to a stop, you can be at the end of your trip and sit in the car, and you want to finish a conversation with your family or whatever, and you take your seatbelt off. Well, the engine's completely in parking brake engaged, and it will constantly, loudly annoy you to put that seatbelt back on forever. It'll never turn off. Okay, so it's just a nanny type vehicle that's relentlessly annoying sometimes. So keep that in mind. Try to turn off as many annoying sounds as you can in the settings. So that's my recommendation if you get this vehicle. Alright, so there's that. There's the different settings. So there's kind of a quick rundown of the screen and how you control it. But one of the best things is the camera system. So while we're looking at the screen, there's a button right here, and you can see it right there. Press that, or you can put it in reverse, of course, and it'll automatically pop up here. And it looks really good. It has a top-down view here. It has active guidelines around the vehicle, and here in the front, right now it's showing the front, but when you put it in reverse, it'll show the back. And you can have different views here. So this is a really wide view. You can have this linear view here. And once again, we have to use a scroll wheel. It's not a touchscreen. So we can have that view, different views here. We can see the sides. The real wide view is really nice because you can actually see both ways, left or right in the front, in addition to what's directly in front of the vehicle. So this is where the active guidelines come in handy, because you have to see, like, this looks like your vehicle takes up the whole parking lot, but it's actually just right here. So that's something important. Let me go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see what that looks like. All right, there's the back view here with the super wide view, and I keep forgetting it's not a touchscreen. There's that linear view, like so. So yeah, it's a really good camera system. You can get to see around the vehicle good, and it comes in handy. And I like the way it has the button right there, easy to get to. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to basically go into the settings or something like that. It's just right there, easy to get to. Now, if it had an automatic function like Toyota does, or Lexus, to where it just automatically turns on, that would be even better. Now, it will automatically turn on if the parking sensors are engaged or activated, basically. So that's something that's good. Okay, so the climate control's down here. It has a tri-zone, driver, passenger, and rear. So that's 3 separate zones you can adjust independently from each other. You can sync them all, and you can control them here. But the temperatures are controlled kind of interesting. So you press down on the button here, or down on the button there. So you think it'd be up and down, but it's actually down, down. So, but they are color coded, which is pretty cool. And it shows the temperature, the fan speed, where the air is blowing, recirculate the air. You also have the heated steering wheel, heated seats, and cooled seats here in the front. Heated and cooled seats for the passenger. So yeah, so this is where you press to control the rear, and then you can turn that off, so you can toggle back and forth. There is a wireless cell phone charger here as well, 12-volt power supply. This is where you change through the drive modes right here. So we can cycle through, and actually shows pretty cool pictures up here on the screen. So if I land on sport, you have a tachometer instead of the regular hybrid monitor on the sport mode. Now if we go to EV, land on that, and you can see the different change there, different colors and stuff. It even has an off-road mode, which is pretty cool. And then towing. But the normal mode is pretty good. It's a well-rounded normal mode. Does a pretty good job. There's the downhill descent button. Now the shifter is kind of weird because, so to put it in reverse, it has like this sharp 90-degree angle, like a number 7. So this is park, and then you go over. Now you got it in reverse, and then you pull back, neutral, drive. So when you put it in park, a lot of vehicles just grab it, push it forward. Well, this is now reverse. Now luckily it has if you actually just press it like that and you try to get out of the vehicle, it'll actually like engage the parking brake and keep you from rolling away. Don't ask me how I know that. But you kind of have to press the button in and go over here to get it in park. So it's a little non-intuitive, a little bit of a learning curve, because it's just different. I don't understand why, if they want to go with a traditional, shifter, why not just have it a traditional style instead of, you could have a push button, because it's an electric shifter. It's not moving any cables or anything. You could have push buttons. You could have another way of doing it, but they want to go with a traditional shifter, but then they want to make it non-traditional for some reason. So the movement of it, non-traditional. So there's cup holders over here. They have little springy arms there. You can also close it up, make it look pretty cool. Electronic parking brake, auto hold right here, volume, You can also bump it left and right to change to the tracks. Volume, press it into mute, kind of thing. Now the armrest here is pretty interesting. It's soft, it's quite big. You could interpret this as a property line for the passenger to use that side and you use this side. Or you could just take it up and hog the whole thing up and not share. But basically that line is to open up, kind of like bomber doors, like this. And then you have this felt line. Well, it's a felt thing at the bottom here. But you have the storage compartment. Let me turn the brightness up. Because it's basically like an abyss in here. It's very dark. Now, if you change this felt at the bottom with something lighter, it'd be a little bit better. You can see in here a little bit better. There is two USB charge ports that are backlit. Those are USB-Cs. The rearview mirror is auto dimming. It's actually auto dimming right now because I have a shade over the light sensor, which is located here on the right side on the back. But also the side mirror is auto dimming here on the driver's side, but not the passenger side. HomeLink garage door button controls are here. Has some lights here, reading lights. Turn on all the lights right here, and then have them turn on with the door, or you can turn that feature off here, and that's the off light basically. This is to control the sunroof. We'll get to that in a minute. Place to put your shades is here, and it's kind of like a felt lining. The visors are a black cloth, just like the headliner, and they have these little light mirrors and lights that turn on, and a little clip right here. These do extend out as well. Basically the same thing on the other side. Okay, so let's look at this sunroof, because it's huge. It has a shade that covers 100% of the light. And let's go ahead and push this back. So you see the shade come back. It's a huge sunroof. Now the front portion moves, the back portion is fixed. So let's go ahead and press up on this button here. Kind of vent it. Pull it back down. Slide it back. And it goes up and over. Like so. Press it again. Alright, that's as far back as it goes. You can see it doesn't open that much, but it's huge. And we can, of course, close the shade. I'm glad that the shade actually covers 100% of the light. It's not like translucent or anything like that. So that's good. On a hot day, it's really nice to just stop the light from shining on you sometimes. Looking at the visibility in the back. Now, the headrests get in the way, in addition to the pillars, and that back pillar is pretty big. But overall, I mean, it's not really a huge deal because that's just the nature of this type of vehicle. It would be nice if it had the rear view camera system. That would help out. But it does have the full 360 camera system. It has the blind spot detection system, rear cross traffic alert. It's got a camera system, parking sensors, all kinds of technology to help you drive the vehicle safely. But so the visibility issues here are fairly common in a vehicle this size, especially if you have passengers and cargo back there. It's just kind of the nature of things.